5. Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. It is today, the 20th day of September, year of our Lord 2024. You have Mike Huddie right there. You have me, that is Dom. I forgot my name for a second. And there's a lot of you in here, so welcome in, welcome in. If you are new, you're just like, what is this Clover Trading thing? What is this Good Morning Nasdaq thing? This is a show that we do every single morning at 8:45 a.m. as long as the market is open. Wednesdays at 9:15 a.m. And we talk about the biggest gappers of the day. We talk about momentum stocks in the small cap market. We talk about their dilution, their catalysts, their daily charts, and kind of give you a little insight into what we do when we pull up stocks for the first time. And if that sounds cool and you jive with that, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We also post long form content every single Monday. And like I said, we're live every day. The market is open. So hit that thumbs up button. We have a little rule around here. We don't do the show if we don't get to 50 likes. Obviously, we won't know that till the end of the show, but it's kind of our just little threat for you guys. So hit that thumbs up button and we will get into it on this beautiful Friday. Happy Friday, Huddie.
Happy Friday. Happy it's Friday. Happy to be here on a Friday, hanging out with you, my buddy, on a Friday.
We're having fun on a Friday. Friday fun.
How's everyone else doing?
How's everyone doing? We got Christian in here, Joseph, Nito, Jabril, Matthew, Selene Music, Jeff, Stewart. I don't know why I read that one. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Let us know how you're doing. Let us know what's going on, how you're doing on the week, the month, anything you want to share with us, that's fine. If you also want to ask any questions, any tickers, if we have time towards the end, we'll be happy to get to them. Let me just see what the gapper list looks like. Okay, I got a few gappers this morning. Actually got quite a few again. Looks like we're going to get right into it. Like I said, hit that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. We're on a mission to get to 6K. And Huddie, let's start off with BATL. Does that sound like a good place to start?
Probably not.
No, is it not one?
No.
It isn't one?
It's not the one to start on.
But is it a gapper?
It is a gapper.
What the heck is this? It's got to be something. Okay. Let's just show people. Let's show the people that real quick. Why don't you walk them through this? Yep.
They've been acquired for like $7 a share. So it's not really a real gapper. It's just going to trade sideways the whole day at this newfound fundamental pricing. And it will not move much, I don't believe. I could be wrong.
As you can see, indicated by the chart here, a spike from 3 to this price and then just sideways. Probably not going to deviate too much from that. I haven't looked much into it because once I see this, I just delete and I don't look at it ever again. So that is one off the board with BATL. Next one I have, can XPON be one?
XPON can be one.
All right, well then let's do that. Hey guys, let's do that one. XPON, or as I call it, XPON 360. Okay, that's dope. 55 million float.
That's like a camera.
7 million market cap. Electrical equipment and parts industry. Let's read this here. XPON 360 is an industry leader of premium lithium batteries and accessories for recreational vehicles, outdoor, marine, residential, and industrial. Making batteries. I think they got to do something cooler than that for that type of name. Do you see any news that is not the news from a month ago?
I do not see any news. I think there was some compliance news or something.
I don't see anything in the foilings. You don't see it? You're looking at a Weeble or something?
I'm looking at Weeble. I think I saw it earlier.
He's looking at his Weeble. All right, you let me know.
I think it was compliance news.
Okay, 15 months of cash left. I have a July 2024 S1 offering priced at an exercise price of 24. Some warrants at 24 with a lot of information about this. I'm sure Huddie probably read through all this stuff right here. Ooh, my goodness. Some stuff out of range. Registered. Shelf of 19 mil. All right, talk to me. Was there news?
Hang on.
We're still hanging. Is it worth it at this point?
No.
All right. Some sort of compliance news, maybe, and I'm sure one of you will chime in and let us know. But anything in that dilution? We got some warrants at 24 cents, which is like 100% higher than where we are right now. with some PP clause in there that is very, very long. So I don't know if you read through that.
Hang on, I'm still trying to find my thing.
I thought we agreed it wasn't worth it.
It wasn't. Okay, the dilution, 150 million warrants, it seems, at 24 cents. That's a lot of warrants at 24 cents. In case you guys didn't know, 100 million is a lot. Known owners, L1, SHN Financial, Altium. Sounds sketch. Huge price protection clause that I'm not going to read, but it's already pretty cheap warrants. I mean, obviously, it's a 13-cent stock. It's not great, but let me tell you, it gets even worse if it gets to 24 cents. So that's kind of like what I would want from XPawn. Like, if it's going to become something that I really want to short or trade, I'd love for it to run. I'd love for it to get, you know, maybe a good first screen day here, get up to 20 cents, and then have some kind of stupid gap into like the 30, 40, 50 cent range. I don't think that's going to happen. But if that did happen, that would be a much better gap and crap come tomorrow once those type of supply instruments are in the money and can also help with the downward selling pressure. That would make more of an ideal play. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's kind of like where my fundamental brain goes. I just want those to be in the money and the stock price to be a bit higher before I really have any interest in it. As far as like that kind of idea playing out, like the world where it opens at 12, dips, rips, and closes at 20, like, I don't know, it's putting a lot of faith in this like bottom bouncing chart, like that I probably would never want to necessarily build a thesis. I mean, even if we were playing this like multi-month breakout over this, 10-cent area where you have a couple tops on big volume, problem is we're already gapping up over those levels. So they either will hold as support, kind of like Xcure yesterday. They'll either hold as support or it'll just keep fading and it doesn't mean anything. So I'm just gonna let this day play out on XPawn. You know, cheap ticker, 186 million shares so far. One of the bigger volume days in the past 2 months already here in the pre-market. So that's a good sign for higher things to come. And I hope they do become higher, because if demand comes in and this holds up well, I think we have an even better play in the future. That would be exciting, something to look forward to. But for now, it's I'm just gonna pretend it doesn't really exist.
Yeah, not a ton of interest for me on 10 to 40 cent stocks. Right out of the gate on day ones. Kind of interesting here fundamentally. You obviously have that 24 cent area where all the warrants, which is kind of the, you know, I don't remember what we call this, gap fill zone, which is kind of the top of that area. So if it were to get into that zone, it'd still be 100% away, where they can start selling. Like Huddie alluded to, you kind of have this multi-week breakout over this 10-9 area. You know, good volume this morning, but the stock has proven that it can do really good volume and still go nowhere. And you can just see, you know, these days the range is 3 cents on 160 mil. This day goes from 6 to 10, or I guess it gaps into there and basically goes down to 6 on 160 mil. So obviously today's going to be higher, but really the higher the better here, because I don't see, you know, I don't really want to be buying 125% up on the day this cheap into resistance, which is dilution. So probably easy ignore for me. I don't expect there to be a lot of people shorting this at 13 cents today. You never know, but higher the better here, where that fundamental thesis comes into play. I didn't find news on this day either that it gapped and crapped on 9.6. So I don't know if this is just someone's trying to get this off its lows or they're trying to get it to 24, but not a ton of interest here for me on XP on 360.
But hopefully it becomes something.
Maybe it becomes, my scanner, dude, it like works and then it just like starts spinning ball of death and I can't read them. So you're gonna have to tell me the next one. That's why you need Webull. You're gonna have to tell me the next one.
Webull's great because it's free and it's on my phone and just honestly gives me what I need. Big percent gainers, trading volume.
I was using that in the hospital a couple weeks ago.
Nice. I hope you're okay. Okay. BATL we went over. XPON we just did. The next one on the list is Leafly Holdings, LFLY, a familiar ticker for Huddie.
All right, let's talk about Leafly. Why is it familiar to you?
Because it's a marijuana stock. It's Leafly. It's a marijuana stock that I was researching earlier this year. So I remember it, and I remember it doing a reverse split. If we're looking at the daily chart here, it did a reverse split back in August, 829 area. Had this kind of like weird illiquid pump, and then got absolutely murked. So I remember kind of that price action. I never really touched it. I just kind of was surprised by. I remember being surprised by it being at 16 and then at $2 like months later, and really like nothing happened. There was no news or anything. That just really horrible selling pressure. And then we had this like pop in June on some really light volume, and it just kind of did nothing, and no one really even noticed these 2 days. And now we're popping again on some light volume. So kind of this like illiquid carcass of a ticker. Maybe they have a
liquid
business model,
carcass
maybe
of a ticker, he says. Let's dive into dilution tracker here. 2.48 million float pharmaceutical retailers in the marijuana space. Their main thing is that they're helping millions discover cannabis each year. 8 million market cap here. News. Did you mention news?
I did not mention news. Is there news?
I only see 8 days ago that they partnered with the New York Cannabis Retail Association, the NYCRA, obviously. The NICRA.
Obviously.
Huh?
Obviously. Who else would you partner with if you were Leaf?
I don't know. They have a lot of cash. Offering ability is medium.
So I'll say what I know about the marijuana industry, and it's what I say every time when one of these stocks pops up, and it's just that these are generally not great companies. It kind of reminds me of like the car industry when you're dealing with penny stocks, or like we said it the other week with electric like boats, VMAR, right? It's just like these are not good companies. They need a lot of funding. They're not at the front runner of the marijuana race, and it's very hard to imagine that these hold their gains when oftentimes with the marijuana sector, you get these like pops and then like they fade to oblivion. Now, in this presence of sector momentum and some legislation, you do tend to see, multi-day runs, but it's not generally out of these like side ones like LFLY. It's usually CGC, ACB, Tilray, SNDL, like your common, like your former runners, right? LFLY, like it would just be random to me if it ended up holding up, and I don't think that a lot of marijuana stocks do. So I think that's where your odds lie. But obviously anything is possible. I'm personally willing to touch this stock today because I don't believe in the marijuana sector.
You're willing to touch it?
I'm willing to touch it.
It's it looks like, I don't know, more news came out, but it's spiking right now. On pretty good volume. Let me see if I can find any. Did Weeble find anything?
I don't know if Weeble's a searcher. News is red though.
What does that mean?
Something came out.
Just now?
Nope. 3 hours ago.
Can you tell me what it is?
Dude, there's no news.
All right, no news. Whatever. It spiked yesterday. It spiked yesterday from the ones up into the fours, kind of gapped down this morning, but still gapped up because that was an after hours. Learn your after hours and pre-market splits. Kind of opened, holding the $3 area, spiking back into the mid threes right now. Kind of agree with everything that Huddie said from just a sector perspective. We have some resistance up here at 420. Sorry. Have some resistance up here at 420 on this weed stock. And
really 420?
Yeah, well, not exactly, but that's what my brain saw.
Or 22.
Pretty light volume right now, and pretty good volume on the day of that 2-day run. I don't remember what was going on. Maybe there was something with weed going on at that time. But it's going to open as one of the bigger gappers of the day. Probably a little bit more interesting to most people than that cheapy gapper. I already forgot the ticker name.
XPON.
What is it? XPON. Sorry. 365 or 360. Let's go further back on the daily, see if there's anything. This has not been one I feel like that's really followed the sector momentum all that well.
I'm reading the comments on Webull, and someone just wrote, "This is cooking. A big jump will come." Like, how do you even know that?
Dude, they're feeling it. It's a Friday.
How do they know that it's? How do they know it's in the oven? That it's cooking? That they're making a warm little casserole?
Is it brownies?
It might be brownies. I mean, it's cooking. This is cooking.
I could go for a chocolate chip cookie right now with milk.
It's just.
So the one thing I see on this daily chart is just resistance in the 420 area. Pretty light volume compared to that so far. That day was 36 mil. Today we're only cooking with 5.3 mil. But it is up right around 100%. So I do think there's going to be some attraction here. I do think it's the wrong time. I think with the election stuff, people are always throw out the words about marijuana and federal legalization and all this crap. But really have yet to see that in the last few years really pop off and work for any period of time like it used to back in the days. So I don't have high hopes for this. Do I wish it its best of luck? It's low float, 2.48 million. I probably won't be trading it. It's not a breakout I'd be interested in over the 420 area just because it'd probably be up 120, 30% at those areas. So kind of an avoid for me, but on a Friday, I hope stuff runs. Unless Huddie's short, then I hope it doesn't.
Thank you. Okay, that's Leafly Economics.
It's Leafly. No, it's Holdings.
No, I made up the last part.
Dude, don't be throwing a freaking wrench in this.
Okay, the next one is Banzai International.
Banzai. What's the ticker?
BN. Can you guess the last two?
AI.
ZI.
No,
You're close.
I remember that was Bonanza or something, wasn't it? BNZI.
B9. Yeah, Banzai.
Banzai.
We're in a singing mood today. Banzai Economics.
It's Friday.
Gotta have my bowl of cereal.
Here's your welcome to your one gapper of the day that is under 1 million float, 640K.
So that's not the number I have, but it is a low float.
What do you have?
I just read the reverse split filing. The shares outstanding, maybe the shares outstanding from the float are different, but it's going to be a 900K shares outstanding. Either way, sub 1 mil.
That's 50% higher than what I said. That could really affect the stock price today.
Hey, now I just want to give accurate information.
Still sub 1 mil. Nano.
Still sub 1 mil.
Overall risk is high across the board. Rarely do we see red across everything. I'm just kidding. It's not that rare. 1 day ago, they reversed their reverse split, announced a reverse split to regain compliance. Effective September 19th. Wait, does that mean today is day one?
I think yesterday, based off my chart, might have been day one, but this is either day 2 or day 1.
Negative 2 months of cash. A lot of stuff in the works. Offering for 10 million in the works.
Yuck.
Yucko. You see anything specific? In the
Banzai.
I don't see anything super applicable.
I don't see anything that's applicable. I would be a bit nervous about that July 2024 S1 offering. The fact that they have no cash, the fact that overall risk is high across the board. I think something bad can happen here within a couple days. Nothing that's too priced in the money at the moment. And I also think that this used to be an OTC. I could be wrong here.
I remember. I feel like it's been in our lives at some point. It doesn't look China pumpy. It's only been from this year.
I want to say it was an OTC.
It could have been.
Which, like, if it was an OTC and it uplisted and doing this reverse split rigmarole, that's really... Oh, doesn't really look like an OTC.
Rigmarole.
But it does look like a horrible downtrending chart.
Which is weird for a small cap.
And now they're PRing with a bunch of dilution, kind of ready to go at any moment's notice. I don't know. My gut says this is a horrible company.
It's just weird because it's like you have all this kind of like grouping of volume down here when it kind of broke to new lows, but like nothing happened on these days. There's not really a lot of range. I guess pre-split it might have been bigger, but that's your only area of resistance up here around 12. We're only up 73% right now, up at $5, but we were higher this morning. Kind of fading off here in the pre-market. Kind of feels like one that might just round trip, but yeah, recent reverse splits is not my forte. It's something I try to stay away from unless I know something like about the dilution, like Fifi or Mullen, and I really understand what's going on with the company. This one I kind of know less. I think they're probably doing the same rigmarole, like Huddie's saying, just to do something. But fresh 900K float, it scares me.
They've had one other gap up in recent past, earlier this year in January. I remember trading this one. Gapped up 84% and then kind of closed red, down 16%. So what is interesting is now we have a different share structure, right? And I think that's the biggest thing to take away from it. Like, it might not have the same behavior that it did last time because the shares outstanding is different. But it also could just completely fade again because this looks like a horrible chart. I mean, it's had one pop in the past year. It got destroyed and then it's faded to 12 cents ever since, and then had a reverse split and a PR. Like, if that doesn't scream pump to me, I don't know what does. But hopefully they get it going, right? Because I don't really want to short a nano float unless it's more extended.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Mr. Huddie. Not a lot of interest here for me. Not a lot of interest at all in the gappers today. We'll see how they play out. Huh?
You always say, no matter what I say about a ticker, you go, yeah, well, not a lot of interest for me. Not a lot of interest for any of the
Yeah,
gappers.
when I finally hit my last thoughts, I'm like, wait, I don't really want to do anything with this. Which is a nice way to live if you can just forget they exist, and then the ones that hold up, you just look at down the line.
Yeah, it is.
But all right, those are your gappers. Let's take a look at what you
We
guys are
have
saying.
one more.
Is it worth it? Because there's questions we can.
All right, go to the questions.
You guys, someone first to comment is, do you guys want to know about the last gapper of the day, or do you want us to answer some of your questions? You got 3 minutes left in the show. Well, we always start a couple minutes late for the most part. So, gapper questions. I'm going to go through a couple questions real quick. Also, 60 likes. That's freaking
60.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Wow.
Make sure you hit that thumbs up button now. It would just be extra credit. Anyone, there's absolutely no need to if you don't want to.
If you're feeling good, if you're feeling good and it's Friday and you want everyone to know you're feeling good, hit that like button.
It's more like a pay it forward type of thing. Like when someone pays you for your Starbucks in front of you and you pay for the person behind you. It's that type of thing. Get your Friday started, you know. Someone said questions. We'll take a few questions and get on out of here. P Daddy Slim says, looks like Cheapy's getting some heat. Only one I saw was that X. I can't remember the ticker. What was it? X? What was the ticker?
Well, I don't even know what you're talking about.
The Cheapy Gapper.
X-Pawn.
So we'll see if there is some cheapies on a Friday. That's kind of interesting. 123 Jabber Max says, Dom, did you hit GLMD for screen day yesterday? I did. Only good thing I did yesterday. Someone mentions Wheeler's reverse split today. That's pretty wild that they went from being, what were they? Like a $18 stock? No, like a $10 stock, $7 stock, whatever. Doing a reverse split's kind of weird. So I think they're probably in the 20s now. I think it was a 3-for-1. Mo Z says, when you guys first started trading, how did you control your emotions? How were you patient with your risk and not taking profits too quickly? Basically, how did you control your emotions? 20 seconds on that. Go.
I was going to make a joke, but we'll take that one back. How did I control my emotions when I first started trading?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can really control their emotions when they first start trading, but in about like year 1 or 2, I don't know. I feel like I finally came to a place where I understood where I made money and where I lost money. You know, there's a discovery phase, which is like you got to get through that and you got to lose as little money as possible.
Or you can't control it.
You can't control it. Like there's a point where it's like uncontrollable because you really just there's so much information, there's so much going on, you really just don't know, and you got to find your place. And like that stage of trading, I really don't miss because it is painful. But once you get to a point where it's like you know your daily chart patterns, you know how to make your watch list, you know what you're going to focus on the next morning. That's when like my simple tricks were 2 things. Like if I didn't have anything on the day to trade, I would pull up like a Tim Grittani webinar. I would full screen that across my whole screen so I couldn't see a chart, and I would hit play. And I would watch that for the first 2 hours of market action. When I knew there was no play for me because my watch list dictated that there was no play, I needed something to just block the screen from me pushing buttons, at least from the active hours. Like that's really what I created, like barriers. Because once you kind of know your path and where you want to be, then it's just like, how do we avoid doing the stuff we don't want to do? And a lot of that is just like putting firewalls in front of you, whether it's going to the gym midday or putting on a webinar and making it full screen, right? And the other thing is sticky notes. Like I'm a firm believer in like a little sticky notepad, have it right to the left of your computer, and in the pre-market, like what emotions are you trying to control? Write those down physically on your sticky pad, rip that off, and then put it on your screen, as there is a physical reminder right in front of you to not make that emotional mistake that keeps plaguing you. And you're still going to make the emotional mistake even with that sticky note there, but you'll make it less often, I promise.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. That was awesome. Can we get to 100 likes? I don't think we've ever done it, but we're in the 90s right now, and we might as well go for it while we're here on a Friday. I think I asked you guys yesterday to have one of the best streams, and we really have. You guys have really shown up today. Couple more questions. San asks, what's your view on RYDE as a sympathy to GSIW? No. I don't want anything to do with RIDE. Is that a China pump?
It looks like one.
You guys, you got to let them know when to fold them. This is a chart I'm folding.
Like, I mean, look, to each their own. If you want to make those correlations and say, hey, this really doggy, crappy looking chart had like this magical first green day bounce, and now I'm trying to find the next one. Like, I get it. I get the thought process, but I don't think it's rooted in a lot of data and or like risk averse kind of plan. Like you're just like, okay, what else is dumped super hard and can now bounce, right? But like you're not thinking about why it dumped super hard, right? Like that's a huge factor. Just because one dumped and bounced doesn't mean the other one had the same reasons for dumping and now can just bounce, right? There's different players, there's different fundamentals, there's different actors. So like I get the linear thought process, but I think you're looking at a batch of tickers that are horrible and trying to find a diamond in the rough. And I think it's really low odds, right? Like you might get one right. I can tell you about like 5 other charts that have also dumped recently. Why ride? And if you can find the thesis that really like
connects them,
like then be your own trader. That's the whole thing. Like you get to express your creative artistic expression all over your charts. Like have fun. But there's like 4 or 5 other ones that have also dumped that are in that $1 range, and I don't know how you decipher between any of them and why you would really want to buy any of them when they've clearly shown that there's like something horrible going on. But I get the bottom bounce idea. If I'm gonna, never mind.
I get it, but I don't like it. And it's to each their own. I will never say don't do this, do this. What I'm saying is when I see this type of action, and I think this happened at like, first of all, it was crazy action pre-dump. Like you talking about wicks to the downside, wicks to the upside, very difficult to trade, not clean like we're normally seeing. And then at like 3 p.m., just like 3 halt down and then after hours dump ski. So this is a true China pump. If you want more access to our take on those, Kyle does a great job talking about those in webinars, and he's always available to answer questions about them. And he knows them, the insides and outs more than we do, and how to recognize them. Laptop Legends, also a great guy who knows a lot about them. But for me, once I know that has that label on it of China Pump, I don't really want it at all unless it turns into a real run or something like MLGO or Holo, which are rare cases, and I don't want to be buying those off their lows. But a lot of questions that we weren't able to get to. Huddie, is there a place they can go where they can always ask those questions to us?
Funny that you mentioned it. Yeah, no, funny that you mentioned that. There is actually a place that does exist. We created it just for you guys. It's called clovertrading.io, where we answer your questions all day, all night, 24/7.
We have people on the East Coast, people on the West Coast, whatever time zone you're in. Usually we have in the summer someone in Europe too, just so that way we can have someone available in the middle of the night, stuff like that. I think you were even in Thailand at one point to really solidify that 24-hour customer service. But check us out over at clovertrading.io if you want access to that. We have watch list every single night, the room, multiple webinars a week, video lessons, trade alerts, all that good stuff. And we'll be there and we'll be here no matter what. If you choose to join us over there and not get your questions in Monday, we'll be here for another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq at 8:45 a.m. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope your football team wins. I hope you have fun. We have great games tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. You can't ask for anything better. I'm going to make some chili tomorrow. So I think we can all rally around that and just be really positive and happy about that. Right, Huddie?
I wasn't listening, but yes.
And then I'll may or may not see Huddie next weekend. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Why would you not?
May or may not. It's a secret. I don't know. Who knows? Have a wonderful day, everybody. And we'll see all you Clovers over in the room. And have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you for, 114 likes, by the way. You guys are the best. We love you. And we'll see you Monday.